Hey, what time do you think it is? Looking at the clock, it's only 5:30. What time? It's only 5:30. What's the matter, getting up so early in the morning? I answered groggily, but Justin continued relentlessly. What do you mean only 5:30? It's common sense for a wife to wake up earlier than her husband, get ready, and have breakfast prepared. Hearing Justin rant like this so early in the morning left me in disbelief. What era is he talking about? It sounded like a line from a mean mother-in-law in an old drama. Since marrying him, we had separate baths and bedrooms, with no intimate relations at all. Then one day, he collapsed at work and had to be rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. As I waited outside the operating room, I heard a young doctor scream. Yikes! What on earth is this? Through this surgery, I would come to discover a surprising secret about him. And also how tough my situation really was. Realizing that I couldn't go on like this, I decided to regain my true self with the help of someone. My name is Susan, a 42-year-old housewife helping with the family business. I used to work in a hospital as a nursing assistant before I got married. I enjoyed my job well enough, but among my friends, I was the only one not married. Both my parents had passed away, leaving me feeling all alone at home, and I was in a hurry to get married. Then, one fateful day. Sitting alone in a bar, a man approached me. Excuse me, may I sit here? The man who spoke to me was my current husband, Justin Miller. He was 3 years older than me and ran a small manufacturing company on his own. As we talked, it seemed he was also single without a partner, just like me. As we shared our stories, we hit it off. 2 single adults. I was hoping for a somewhat romantic night, but we ended up making plans to meet again soon and called it an early night. After that, our dating started naturally, and we went out once a week. Dates with him, who is quiet and faithful, were just calm conversations in cafes and parks. However, I gradually found myself drawn to his seemingly kind nature. Then, on our 3rd date. Considering our age, it wouldn't make sense to keep dating aimlessly, right? Seeing him fidget as he spoke, I was slightly hopeful. Do you mean? Yes, I know it's only been a month since we started dating, but we're both of similar age, so, would you consider marrying me? Is that okay? It was certainly an unusual proposal. But I was in a hurry to get married, and I thought he was a good person, so I quickly responded. Yes, I'd be happy to. As soon as I agreed, his face lit up with joy. Since neither of us had parents, we decided to obtain marriage license and have a small wedding ceremony of only us. Upon getting married, I quit my job to help with his company. And so, my married life with him began. But it also marked the start of days filled with suffering. We had no physical relationship from the time we met until we got married. I thought he was just a serious person who wouldn't casually enter into relationships with women. I believed that once we got married, we would naturally enjoy a married life. But that belief was. But on the very first day of our marriage, he set some unexpected rules. I'll sleep in the bedroom, so Susan, please sleep in a different room. Also, I often come home late because of work. So please take your shower first. Surprised by his statement, I couldn't help but respond with a tone of disbelief. Eh? You mean we're going to sleep separately? Even though we're newlyweds. Even when I asked, he just nonchalantly insisted on his point of view. I can't sleep well when I'm in the same room with someone else. And the bathroom is too small for us to share, isn't it? Despite my frustration with his reasoning, I didn't want to start an argument on the first day, so I didn't say anything more. The next morning, I was startled awake by a loud voice before my 6 a.m. alarm. Hey! What time do you think it is? Looking at the clock, it's only 5:30. What time? It's only 5:30. What's the matter, getting up so early in the morning? I answered groggily, but Justin continued relentlessly. What do you mean only 5:30? It's common sense for a wife to wake up earlier than her husband, get ready, and have breakfast prepared. Hearing him rant like this so early in the morning left me in disbelief. What era is he talking about? It sounded like a line from a mean mother-in-law in an old drama. I thought so, but when I looked at his face, I saw a fierceness I had never seen before. Feeling that it was not wise to contradict him, I immediately got dressed and started preparing the meal. Although it might seem obvious, we still eat meals together even if we use separate bedrooms. As we sat opposite each other eating breakfast, something caught my attention. It's already July, yet he is wearing a long-sleeved sweater. Thinking that I might have to prepare summer clothes for him, I asked Justin. I'm sorry for only having a sweater available at this time of year. I'm supposed to prepare summer clothes for you, right? At my question, he seemed to choke on his food, coughing and sputtering as he replied. Ahem, ahem. No, I dress like this all year round, I don't need summer clothes. See? I'm sensitive to the cold. You know how it gets chilly with the air conditioning this time of year. If he really dislikes the cold, that makes sense. Still, there was no need for him to panic like that. His unnatural behavior left me unsure of how to respond. Since then, I've been going to the office in the morning to help with the business. But he tells me to go home early evening to prepare dinner, so I return home early. He was not only particular about meals but also about cleaning and laundry, leaving me with no time to relax even when I came home early. I cleaned every corner of the house and neatly folded and put away the laundry. Preparing dinner and taking a shower before he returned became my daily routine after getting married. He was the type of husband who adhered to old-fashioned roles, not lifting a finger at home. I understood he was busy as a business owner, but I wished he would help out with the household chores a bit. I thought so, but saying anything that might upset him could lead to another outburst. While making dinner, I suddenly wondered. What did I get married for? Since our bedrooms are separate, we have no intimate relations at all. At this rate, despite being married, I don't feel happy at all. Far from being happy, I might be losing sight of who I really am. Thinking this, I suddenly felt overwhelmed and tears began to flow endlessly. As I sat there crying alone, around 5 p.m., my phone rang. It was a female employee from our company. Oh, Mrs. Miller, it's terrible. Mr. Miller suddenly collapsed. We've called an ambulance, so please head to the hospital right away. Hearing this, I was lost for words. Sensing my state, the employee calmly told me the name of the hospital. Trying to calm myself, I thanked the employee and immediately called a taxi. At the hospital, I gave my name at the reception and was guided to the treatment room where he was. I was told to wait outside, so I sat down on a chair in front of the door. The door to the treatment room opened, and out came Dr. Nathan Taylor, a veteran doctor about the same age as Justin. I stood up and approached Dr. Taylor. Excuse me, I'm the wife of Justin Miller. How is my husband's condition? Are you his wife? Your husband's life is not in danger, but he needs to be admitted to the hospital immediately for surgery. Eh? Is that so? Then, please take good care of him. After greeting Dr. Taylor, I didn't see Justin but just completed the paperwork for his admission and surgery before heading home. Normally, I would have stayed by his side. Dr. Taylor and the nurses might have thought I was a cold wife, but since Justin and I weren't close, I couldn't bring myself to stay with him. Then, on the day of the surgery, I didn't see Justin before the surgery. I arrived at the hospital around the time it was supposed to start. While waiting outside, I heard a young man scream from the operating room. Ah. Yikes. What on earth is this? What are you saying as the doctor? I wondered if the one screaming was an assistant doctor. The young doctor seemed scared, and the lead surgeon was trying to calm him down. Still, the young doctor responded with a voice that seemed about to tremble. But, I've never seen such an incredible tattoo before. What should we do? Calm down. It won't interfere with the surgery. I wondered what all the fuss was about. The voices were loud enough to be heard outside the operating room. They mentioned something about a tattoo. The assistant might seem unreliable, but the lead surgeon seemed competent, so I waited for the surgery to end with peace of mind. A few hours later, the surgery ended, and 2 doctors came out. One was the young doctor, Dr. Thompson, who had screamed earlier, looking as if he had seen something unpleasant. The other was the lead surgeon, Dr. Taylor, whom I had met before. Dr. Taylor looked at Dr. Thompson with a somewhat disdainful expression. Dr. Thompson seemed like a well-off young man who was unaccustomed to hardship. I stood up and looked at Dr. Taylor. Beside him, Dr. Thompson apologized to me with a look of regret. I'm sorry about your husband's tattoo on his back. Hey. Stop that. I didn't quite understand what the two were talking about. Dr. Thompson's words especially caught my attention. Excuse me. You've been mentioning the tattoo. What's that about? Both doctors looked surprised at my question. Ma'am. It's about that large demon tattoo on your husband's back. It covers his entire back, doesn't it? I was taken aback by Dr. Thompson's unexpected response. So, that's why Justin kept the bath and bedroom separate. Dr. Taylor maintained a calm demeanor. I apologize for the disturbance. The surgery went smoothly. Your husband is fine now. Can I talk to him now? Yes, you'll be able to see him shortly. After waiting for a while, I was led to the treatment room. Justin, there, who had woken up from the anesthesia and was wearing a hospital gown, lay down. Noticing me, he looked uncomfortable. I didn't want you to see that, Susan. Why are you here when I didn't call for you? Faced with his brusque attitude, I couldn't even say, how are you feeling? Justin seemed to think it was a problem that his tattoo was discovered. Though the demon on his back was not visible, the tattoo around his shoulder was clearly visible through the hospital gown. Still, I wondered why he thought he could keep such a large tattoo hidden forever. Although I was curious, considering it was after his surgery, I decided the conversation could wait and didn't ask anything about it. Justin remained sullen, turning away. Dr. Thompson looked at us alternately with curiosity, asking me, aren't you going to say something to your husband? I didn't know what to say at such a moment. Then, Justin spoke up. Susan, if you have no business here, then just leave. What? Not what? Standing there looking glum, it's like a viewing and I hate it. If you understand, then please go home. Dr. Thompson frowned and tilted his head at Justin's manner of speaking. He must be wondering if we are really a couple. Right. It seems pointless to stay, so I'll be going. In the end, I left the hospital as he had demanded. Unable to bring myself to go straight home, I dined out. As I was walking out of the restaurant, a man called out to me from behind. Susan. Turning around, I saw Dr. Taylor, the attending physician who had helped us earlier. Dressed in a suit, he seemed to be on his way home from work. Thank you for earlier. I tried to thank Dr. Taylor, but he started speaking as if to cut me off. I was wondering how Justin could have such a nice wife. But it seems there's some complication? From his tone, it seemed he had known Justin for some time. What do you mean? Oh, sorry for being so direct. It just seemed odd to me that a wife wouldn't stay by his side when he's been rushed to the hospital from his workplace. I'm sorry for causing any inconvenience to the hospital staff. I apologized, thinking I might have inconvenienced the hospital. However, he shook his head and replied. No, that's not what I meant. It's just that you seemed unaware of his tattoo. That caught my attention. Dr. Taylor seemed to know something about Justin's tattoo. Curious, I asked him for more details. Dr. Taylor shared that he and Justin had been classmates in middle school. Justin was quite the troublemaker back then, often riding around with his biker gang. And rarely attending school. To intimidate others, he got a large demon tattoo on his back around that time. Dr. Taylor, who was the student council president then, couldn't stand such delinquency among his peers. We were in the same class in our first year. We weren't particularly close, but Justin wasn't always a bad guy. Dr. Taylor wanted to reform Justin and, with great determination, he ventured into the territory of the delinquent group Justin was part of. Desperately trying to convince him to change his ways. Justin, please leave this group and come to school. Despite his desperate plea in front of the delinquents, Dr. Taylor was badly treated by Justin's friends. However, his efforts seemed to have had some effect, as Justin started attending school again and later went on to a correspondence high school. I was astonished to learn about Justin's past. Justin doesn't seem to remember me anymore. But I'm glad he reformed and started working seriously. However, it seems your marriage to him isn't straightforward. It seems even to others that my relationship with Justin isn't normal. Thinking about it makes me feel embarrassed and disheartened. It's truly embarrassing. To think our unnatural relationship is so apparent. He gently shook his head again. No, it's not you who's unnatural. It seems Justin is the one neglecting you for some reason. Reflecting on his words, I began to feel the same. Somehow, I found I could talk to Dr. Taylor about anything. Perhaps as a doctor, he's accustomed to offering support to patients' families in times like these. I felt a mix of gratitude and guilt for burdening him with my troubles. I'm sorry, Dr. Taylor, for troubling you with such personal matters concerning a patient's family. No, I'm not speaking to you as a doctor right now, but as an individual. Back in the day, I couldn't stand his delinquency and confronted him about it, but now, for a different reason, I find myself unable to forgive him again. At that moment, I couldn't grasp the full meaning of his words. A different reason? When I asked, he showed a shy smile. Well, that aside, if you ever find yourself confused about Justin, please feel free to consult me. I might be able to help in some way. Talking to the empathetic Dr. Taylor made me feel like I could share anything with him. He knew a lot about Justin's past. So, sharing my current situation might help find a way to resolve my troubles. With that thought, I detailed to Dr. Taylor everything from when I met Justin up to the present. He listened intently, his brows furrowed in a stern expression. Something's off. What was he thinking when he got involved with you? I don't really understand his feelings either. As I responded, tears started to well up in my eyes. Talking to someone made me realize how dissatisfied I am with the way I'm living now. I understand. Just leave it to me for now. I felt guilty for troubling someone with my personal issues. Yet, his kindness made me feel relieved and filled my heart with warmth. I decided to resolve the ambiguous relationship with Justin, with Dr. Taylor's help. The next morning, I visited Justin's hospital room. Dr. Taylor had informed me that Justin's post-operative recovery was stable, so I wanted to talk to him. However, even when I arrived, Justin kept looking out the window, refusing to meet my eyes. Still wanting to clarify the truth, I didn't hesitate to question him. Why did you keep silent all this time? With such a large tattoo, it was bound to be discovered eventually. Or did you plan to keep it hidden without maintaining a marital relationship? Justin remained silent at my question. Then, he muttered softly. I thought you would run away again. Again? What do you mean? As I pressed for an answer, he began to talk about his past relationships. According to him, every time he got involved with someone and they saw his tattoo, they would break up with him. Justin, who appeared to be a diligent young man, had a large demon tattoo on his back that no one would suspect. The menacing demon on his back makes it seem like he's involved in some dangerous organization. Your misdeeds were only until middle school, right? Why didn't you remove the tattoo when you reformed? When I pressed further, he glared at me with a sharp look and yelled. I just couldn't bring myself to erase this tattoo. Why not? I wanted to know the truth about him, but he didn't seem willing to answer. Instead, he questioned me. More importantly, how do you know about my middle school days? I don't recall telling you anything. I heard it from someone who was the student council president during your middle school. Nathan? He seemed to remember Nathan. But why had he remained silent about their reunion? Despite knowing Nathan had tried so hard to reform him? Why didn't you say a word of thanks to Dr. Taylor? He remembers you clearly. And it's thanks to him that you were able to reform and become who you are today, isn't it? At my question, he tilted his head. You're misunderstanding something. The reason I straightened up was because a friend of mine died in a motorcycle accident. I decided to quit biking and live a proper life for his sake. This tattoo is like a memento from him, we got it together. The truth about the tattoo was revealed. Yet, I still felt somewhat unsatisfied with his explanation. Why? Dr. Taylor even tried to reform you, facing resistance from your friends, and yet you talk as if it doesn't matter. That's terrible. Shut up. Why do you keep taking his side? What, do you like him or something? He pressed me, but I felt no guilt. After all, there's no reason for Justin to be jealous in our current marital situation. I decided it was time to clarify things and asked him. What about you? Don't you love me? What was the purpose of our marriage? Well, Justin seemed to struggle for an answer. I stared at him, determined not to leave until I got a clear response. What's it going to be? Be clear. Well, the thing is, after losing my parents in the last 2 to 3 years, there was no one to do the household chores. So, I thought I needed a wife to manage. What? Is that all? Learning the true reason behind our marriage shocked me. Not wanting to discuss it further, I left the hospital room. Dr. Taylor was standing at the exit. He guided me to the lobby, careful not to let our conversation reach Justin. As I thought, shall we proceed with the plan? Yes. I decided to act on the contingency plan he had suggested, considering the worst-case scenario. 2 weeks passed. Today was Justin's discharge day. Since that day, I hadn't visited his room even once and didn't go to the hospital to pick him up. I had been busy at the company these 2 weeks. During his hospitalization, I acted as the company's president, handling various procedures. He needed to rest at home for a while after his discharge. So, I prepared a day's meals in the morning before leaving for work until evening. Since his hospitalization, we had grown even more distant. Seeing each other less meant fewer arguments. However, it was better not to see him for the work I was about to do. A month after his discharge, when his health had improved significantly, he visited the company. Upon entering, he was shocked by the drastically changed interior. I quietly observed from the back office. What the hell? Even the manufacturing equipment and employees' desks are gone. Hearing his astonished voice, the employees approached him. Mr. Miller, thank you for everything. What do you mean? Confused, Justin looked around. The employees exchanged glances. Probably unsure who should explain. Actually, our company has been absorbed by Taylor Industries, located in the same area. Starting tomorrow, we will be re-employed there. What? I wasn't informed about this. His voice echoed through the office, shocked by the merger news. Thinking it was about time, I stepped forward. Oh. Sorry, Justin. The decision was made suddenly, so I was late in informing you. What? A merger like that should be discussed first with me, the president. Justin was furious, his face red with anger. That's true, but we've run into a bit of trouble, I said, showing Justin a photograph. It was taken by a male employee who had recently left the company. The photo showed Justin sneakily changing clothes in the men's locker room. The photo clearly captured the large demon tattoo on his back. The man believed that the company's president might be involved in some bad organization, and after discussing it with other employees, he left the company. Now, all the employees here harbor a sense of distrust towards Justin. It's not just about the tattoo, there are other reasons too. In fact, after we got married, he started dumping all the troublesome company procedures on me. He would sneak out during work to go gambling at casino and horse races. There had been sightings by the neighbors, so this was known for some time. The photo taken by the former employee in the locker room was taken when Justin was changing clothes to sneak out while no one was around. By chance, he was late for personal reasons and managed to take the evidence photo. When the other employees learned everything, they started to express their desire to leave, but that's when I informed everyone about the merger. One of the employees said to Justin, Mr. Miller, we thought we couldn't continue under someone like you. Dumping all your work on your wife and doing as you please. And then there's the flashy tattoo on your back, which surely questions the dignity of a company's president, doesn't it? All the employees nodded in agreement. Justin, looking troubled, muttered softly. That has nothing to do with this tattoo. Ah. More importantly, a person who can't even cherish one wife has no right to lead many people. Dr. Taylor interjected as he walked in. Nathan. Why are you even here? This has nothing to do with you. No, it has everything to do with me. I was the one who suggested our company absorb this one. What? Indeed, the company that was merging with us, Taylor Industries, was run by his brother. In other words, it was his family business. He had been sincerely looking out for me, believing I shouldn't stay with Justin any longer. Justin was failing not just as a husband but also as a president. That's why I had been burdened with troubles both personally and professionally. He had considered this in devising the current strategy. Now, Justin, due to his own negligence both at home and work, found himself completely isolated. Realizing he could lose everything, Justin began to grovel to Dr. Taylor. If it's not too much to ask, could I possibly join the company as well? Out of the blue, he was asking for employment. Everyone around looked at Justin with dismay. Dr. Taylor sighed, and placed his hand on Justin's shoulder. If that were the case, it would defeat the purpose of everyone here leaving this company. Besides, it's better for Susan to be freed from you sooner. Hearing this from Nathan, Justin quickly turned to me and pressed. Susan. Do you want to leave me? How am I supposed to live without you? His pleading look made me respond with disdain. I can't continue a superficial marriage like this. I'm not your mother or a maid. You need to be alone for once and learn to take care of yourself. As I firmly stated this, he was left speechless. I was ready to deliver the final blow to Justin, who became silent. Also, I've decided to rejoin the workforce as a nursing assistant at the hospital on Dr. Taylor's recommendation. I can make a living on my own income now. So, let's get a divorce. At my words, he began to panic. Divorce? Wait. Even if you're okay, I can't live on my own without a job. So? Justin. Just give it up. You, always thinking of yourself and never considering others' feelings. Such a person should be alone and cool his head. Dr. Taylor scolded him with a loud shout. He trembled and couldn't say anything back. And so, I left Justin and moved out. I started working as a nursing assistant while living in the hospital's staff dormitory for a while. The dormitory was filled with young nursing students, and I felt a bit out of place being over 40. But finally free from a distressing life, I felt refreshed. From now on, I'm determined to work hard and live independently. Even after the divorce, Justin continues to live alone in his original home. After the company was absorbed and merged with Taylor Industries, all the employees transferred there. The site of his former company is now vacant land. Although unemployed, he still owns his home, so there's no worry about rent. Or so it should have been. Lately, passing by his house on my way to work, I hear loud voices of men and women almost every day. No matter how late at night I pass by, I still hear loud voices, so I ask the neighbors about it. According to the neighbors, he is now living with a woman. Perhaps because he said he couldn't live alone, he quickly found someone. But she is complaining about him to the neighbors. When asked what the complaints were, it was as I expected. With no income and unwilling to do any household chores, Justin, as always, leaves all the cooking, cleaning, and laundry to his partner. It seems they argue daily as his partner vents her frustrations at him. At worst, they throw things at each other, and the sound of breaking glass echoes throughout the neighborhood. Perhaps, the tattoo he initially hid was also discovered, adding to the complaints against him. It seems that a man like Justin never learns, no matter who he's with. The neighbors seem to be troubled by the noise from his house every day, well into the night. But after a while, someone apparently reported the noise disturbance to the police, and he was ordered to leave. I heard from the neighbors that they broke up at the same time as the eviction. Incidentally, I often see him wrapped in cardboard at the park, seemingly still without a job. Being homeless probably makes it even harder for him to find a new job. If I ever get approached by him, I plan to ignore him and walk away. But I probably won't have to worry about that anymore. After completing my training, I was given a significant salary increase as a nursing assistant at the hospital by assessment of my work performance. Thanks to my over 20 years of experience being considered, I moved to an apartment suitable for living alone and bought a car, considering the night shifts. Now that I'll be commuting by car, it's unlikely I'll unexpectedly run into the homeless Justin, unless something extraordinary happens. I often see Dr. Taylor at work. Thanks to him, I've become more positive about life. Now, I feel like I've completely regained my original self. Interestingly, he has also been through a divorce and seems to be single now. There's a lot of whispering among the staff that Dr. Taylor and Susan might remarry. But I'm content with my life as it is now, so I'm not really thinking about marriage again. Dr. Taylor, who enjoys his freedom, probably feels the same way. Dr. Taylor and I, being so similar. I don't think we'll ever date, but I hope to continue seeing each other at work and remain good friends. Finding a friend with whom you can talk about anything at this age is rare.